The atmosphere buzzed with excitement and laughter as women gathered in the Ohidokan family compound, hands clapping to high-life music. Amaka, the eldest daughter, was throwing a baby shower. The yard was adorned with balloons and ribbons, and tables were brimming with jollof rice, fried chicken, and soft drinks. Yet, amidst the bubbly celebrations, there was a tension that hung in the air, a noticeable absence. "Where's Kemi?" Amaka's friend Tenny asked, peering around. "Ah, she's not coming," Amaka replied dismissively, her eyes darting away. "She's too busy with her so-called important job." Tenny raised an eyebrow. "She didn't mention that she wouldn't come." "She wasn't invited," Amaka snapped, her smile turning brittle. It was a family decision after all. Something about Kemi rubbed them the wrong way. Even as the younger sister, her confidence, independence, and the swirling rumors about her alleged affair with Amaka's husband were hard to ignore. Meanwhile, Kemi sat on her bed, staring at the ceiling fan lazily twirling above her. Her phone pinged incessantly with the social media notifications. Photos from the baby shower she wasn't invited to. Photos of her family celebrating a milestone without her. Emotions churned within her, a mix of sadness, betrayal, and a lingering confusion. How could her family believe she was entangled with her brother-in-law? What had she done that warranted such exclusion? She picked up her phone and dialed her friend Kunle. "Kunle, I can't believe they're doing this." "Ah, Kemi," he sighed. "I told you to confront them. You can't keep quiet about these things." "It's easier said than done," Kemi muttered, biting her lip. "Then maybe it's time you show up," Kunle suggested, his voice firm. Kemi hesitated at the gate of the family compound, an odd mix of resolve and trepidation in her step. If they didn't want her there, she would find out why directly. As she pushed open the iron gate, laughter and clinking glasses reached her. But as she stepped through, the music seemed to falter, conversations ebbing into whispers. "Kemi?" Amaka's voice cut through the air, surprise melting into accusation. "You decided to come." Kemi walked up to Amaka, trying to read her sister's face, the unsaid words beneath her perfectly polished smile. "I came to celebrate you, Amaka," Kemi said, keeping her voice steady despite the tremor in her chest, "and maybe clear the air." The two sisters stood at the center of the gathering, the guests' eyes like silent spectators at the theater. Amaka folded her arms. "Clear the air? About what?" "About why I was excluded," Kemi replied, her heart racing, "and about these rumors. We're family, Amaka." Amaka chuckled, though no warmth reached her eyes. Family should respect boundaries. Kemi took a deep breath, glancing around at the faces she had known and loved all her life. "If you have something to say it now." Amaka's smile faded. "All right, Kemi. They say you and Femi." Her voice faltered slightly, but she pressed on. "They say you're too close." Laughter erupted from a few guests, awkward and forced. Kemi stood rooted, her mind racing. "That's not true, Amaka. Femi is like a brother to me." "Is that so?" Amaka's eyes flashed. The tension broke the dam. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd, accusations tumbling carelessly between them. Kemi shoved her hands into her pockets, feeling the heat of indignation rise. "So that's it? You judge me based on baseless gossip?" A voice rose from the back, startling the crowd into silence. It was Femi, Amaka's husband, his face a mix of frustration and unexpected strength. "Kemi's right," he declared, stepping forward. "Whatever you've heard is a lie." A hush fell over the gathering. Amaka looked at her husband, disbelief etching deeper lines into her expression. "Femi," she began, but he cut in. "Let's stop this here and now," Femi insisted, looking around. "Kemi is family. She deserves more than whispers and judgments." Emotions swelled like a tide, washing over the tight-knit circle. Kemi felt weak, wavering between the relief of Femi's defense and the exhaustion of faceless accusations. "Why would you kindle such rumors, Amaka? Why?" Kemi's voice broke. Amaka blinked back tears of anger and confusion, tightening her grip on the narrative that was slipping from her hands. "Because I believed it. I was jealous, okay? I heard things. I didn't know what to think." Kemi shook her head, feeling hollow and worn. "Family is supposed to trust, Amaka." "I'm sorry," Amaka finally whispered, the expression softening as the crowd dispersed, leaving the sisters to linger awkwardly by the table of colourful balloons. Yet, Kemi knew apologies didn't mend trust, not entirely. Her world had shifted, and this rift had exposed emotions she couldn't just bury again. "I'll fix this," Amaka said resolutely, but Kemi stood still, realizing how frayed the ties had become, too aware of the cracks that had formed. As dusk fell over the compound, Kemi found herself sitting alone in the garden, her heart feeling like a lead weight in her chest. Femi sat beside her. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen." "It's not your fault, Femi," she sighed, tired of the tangled web their lives had become. "I just wish things could be different." His hand reached out, offering silent solidarity. "I hope they can." But somewhere in Kemi's heart, she knew a bond had been irrevocably altered. The night ended with fragmented goodbyes, the gathering dispersing into whispers of change. Kemi lingered, looking at the moonlit compound, memories of laughter mixed with the hollow echo of today's events. As she stepped out, Kunle's words rang in her mind, the idea of not only forgiveness but setting the story straight, reclaiming her place and peace, a quiet promise burning like an ember. Back in her apartment, Kemi lay awake, the ceiling fan spinning shadows across her room. She had walked into the gathering hoping for understanding, but her heart realized there was work to do, truths to set free and wrongs to right. As the first rays of dawn peeked through lace curtains, she felt resolve settle in, a determination to rewrite her story, clear her name, and restore the family she once knew. Her path lay ahead, uncertain yet promising, and Kemi rose to its challenge, ready to face the betrayals and battles to come. As the first light of the morning crept through her apartment window, Kemi recounted each word and taunt from the family gathering, their sting still fresh against her skin. Her phone buzzed, shattering the solitude. Sleep eluded her the previous night, thoughts entangled in a web of betrayal and resolution. "Kemi, did you sleep at all?" Kunle's voice filled with concern through the phone. "No," she replied, her voice barely a whisper. "I need answers, Kunle. This can't go on." "I know a lawyer who could help you prove your point," Kunle advised cautiously, "but are you sure this is the path you want to take?" Silence hung for a beat before she answered. "I just want the truth exposed." My name cleared. Determination burning in her chest, Kemi met with the lawyer Kunle recommended. Pictures, text messages, timings, she shared them all, everything pointing to where she was whenever accusations were raised. "It's a solid case if you want to pursue it legally," the lawyer remarked after sifting through her evidence, but the sense of victory refused to ignite. All Kemi felt was the dire weight of sadness. Turning someone's life into court battles wasn't in her nature, yet the pain of familial betrayal was unbearable. Later, Kemi found herself back at the family compound, lured by a pulse of unfinished business. She stood outside, the sun casting long shadows on the walls that held her childhood memories. As she knocked, the door opened, revealing her mother, Yemisi, eyes lined with the wisdom of years and the sorrow of the recent weeks. "Ah, Kemi," Yemisi sighed, ushering her inside. The lines on her mother's face seemed deeper, as if the conflict had aged her prematurely. "Mama, we need to talk," Kemi began, her voice sincere and cracked. "I need to know why no one stood up for me." Tension lay thick in the room as Yemisi sat across from Kemi, the generations of tradition and expectation lingering in her stare. "It's complicated, Kemi. We believed there was something between you and Femi. Your closeness was unsettling." "And yet no one asked me," Kemi implored. "In all my years, have I ever given you reason to doubt my honor?" "I thought distance would calm things," Yemisi said, regret colouring her words. "Distance has only widened the void, Mama," Kemi whispered, tears threatening to spill. As Kemi and her mother spoke, further into the house Amaka eavesdropped. Each word from Kemi was like a pebble dropped in a pond, rippling outwards, pushing Amaka to a realization she'd avoided. Unable to stay hidden any longer, Amaka joined them, her steps hesitant. "Kemi, I never meant to hurt you," she confessed, the masks of pride and suspicion slowly crumbling. Kemi looked at Amaka, her frazzled emotions a tangled yarn too tightly spun. "Do you realize how this gossip affects us, not just me, but you and Femi too?" I didn't think it through, Amaka admitted shamefacedly. I let whispers and fear guide me. And where has that led us? Kemi asked, a faint anger underlying her question. Unexpectedly, Femi also entered the room, sensing the seismic shifts taking place. Amaka, Kemi, he addressed them both. We need to end this cycle of suspicion and hurt. His presence brought a tense quiet to the room as he continued. I've been talking to Pastor Tunde. We all need to speak, to hear God's truth in this. His words settled like seeds in fertile soil, offering a glimmer of understanding, an alternative to the vengeance Kemi planned. As they gathered, Pastor Tunde's gentle but firm presence grounded the room. Families are forged through trials, but let us not be defined by division. His words cut through the festering emotions, offering a balm only truth can provide. Here's the lesson, Pastor Tunde continued, offering a Bible that had comforted generations before them. Jesus bore our transgressions. It's too heavy a burden for any one of us. Kemi listened as her mother, sitting beside Pastor Tunde, nodded thoughtfully. Amaka's face contorted in conflict, understanding slowly dawning on her. Kemi, her mother said softly, taking her hand, this family needs healing, and forgiveness must start with an apology. Overwhelmed, Kemi considered the weight of those words. Revenge would have won her the battle, but God's love offered her a path clear of bitterness. I just wanted the truth out, Kemi replied, her voice now more fragile than before. But I realize now that it can't heal these wounds. In that sacred space, Kemi felt the walls of resentment begin to unravel. I'm willing to forgive, to start anew, she declared, as if discovering the strength within herself to open her heart. Amaka reached for Kemi's hand, tears in her eyes. I'm sorry, Kemi. I chained our family to rumours, and I regret it deeply. Pastor Tunde led a prayer, a moment where hearts aligned with the Saviour's love, where burdens were laid down at the foot of the cross. Father, grant us the humility to forgive and the courage to move forward united under your grace, he prayed. The family, once divided by whisper and scandal, felt a shift. A new narrative was emerging, one where Christ stood at the centre, not just to mend, but to guide. Kemi felt peace palpably fill the room. She hugged Amaka, then her mother, feeling the invisible chains of hurt and doubt slip away like autumn leaves. Later, as Kemi stepped out into the afternoon sun, she realized that while scars might remain, they were reminders of a love that conquers even the deepest chasms of betrayal more potently than revenge ever could. Colonel stood by the gate, watching her approach with an expectant gaze. And, did you get your victory? He teased gently. In a way, I did, Kemi responded, a soft smile curling at her lips. Not the one I expected, but victory in Christ, which feels like freedom. They walked side by side, shared silence speaking more than words could, a story redeemed by the light of forgiveness.
Thank you so much for listening to this intriguing story. I hope it touched you or taught you something. For more stories like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the page. And guys, if you'd like to see a part 2, or you have thoughts on what happened, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next story.